Greetings, everyone. Like my co-organizers, I would like to thank you all for being here this evening. I mean, come on. Look around at everybody around you, standing beside you. When Cody reached out to me with the idea to organize a rally, I never imagined that this would expand as big as it has. It's so powerful to see so many students and community members who are willing to give up a little bit of their time, even if that might have meant standing in the rain, just to stand in solidarity with other survivors and stand out against sexual assault at Ohio University. By being here tonight, you're showing a willingness to keep this conversation going beyond tweets and banners, so we can ultimately turn these words into actions that will make a real difference on our campus. And that's pretty incredible. Ohio University has been getting a lot of attention recently because of the number of sexual assaults that have been reported since the start of the semester. While it's inspiring and empowering to see the articles that highlight the activism and supports from students that have come about in response to these reports, it's embarrassing and disheartening to hear that this issue is referred to as an epidemic on our campus. We're Bobcats, after all. Athens is the greatest place on earth, isn't it? Shouldn't we be better than this? In reality, this issue is not unique to Ohio University, and it's not necessarily an epidemic. Unfortunately, it's actually pretty common, which I can explain through a whole lot of numbers, so brace yourself. Does this work better? Oh, it does. Maybe I'll still have a voice tonight. Okay. All right. Got it. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, or RAIN, more than 50% of sexual assaults that take place on college campuses occur during the first 4 months of the school year: August, September, October, and November. That's pretty consistent with what's been going on our own campus this year. RAIN reports that 20%, or 1 in every 5, female-identified undergraduate students and nearly 9% of female-identified graduate students will experience sexual assault during their time at school. Additionally, about 5% of male-identified undergraduate students and about 2% of male-identified graduate students will experience sexual violence during their time at school. Students who identify as members of the LGBTQ+ community and students of color are at an even higher risk than that. About 11% of all students will experience rape or sexual assault at one time or another. And on top of all of that, Ohio University reports that 13% of first-year Bobcats identify as survivors of sexual violence prior to arriving on campus. Now, keep in mind, these numbers probably don't even reflect every incident that has taken place. RAIN reports that typically only 20% of students who have experienced sexual violence end up reporting to law enforcement, whether it's because they didn't want to get the person in trouble, feared possible backlash if someone found out that they reported, or they didn't want to report for other personal reasons. That's why, despite all of these numbers and all of the reports that we've received so far this semester, Ohio University isn't more or less of a dangerous place to be than it has been in the past. These numbers ultimately mean that more people are feeling empowered to report incidents of sexual violence to authorities. It means that survivors are coming forward, reporting their stories, and in the process, inspiring others to do the same. When we stand together, the individuals who commit these violent acts will no longer get away with their actions, and that too will be incredible. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed by the numbers I just threw at you, you're not alone. It's hard to comprehend the impact that this issue has had on our classmates, our closest companions, and if you're anything like me, you're probably left wondering, what can I do about it? Tonight you will hear from a number of students who are turning their frustrations into fear and real change on our campus. And I'm here to tell you that you can do the same. I'm going to need about 10 volunteers to come up here. Don't worry, I won't make you do anything crazy. All I need is a couple people to stand right up here next to me.
I'm going.
2 more would be great. 2 more would be great. All right, this is great. Yeah, come on up.
Be up there.
Okay. So I'm going to hand one of you. I'm not going to hand you that. I'm going to hand you Hannah's phone. You're going to take this, and you're going to get it back to me so I can give it back to Hannah. Go on, give it back to me. Have everyone help me get it back. Here you go, Hannah. All right, Hannah's got her phone back, I'm sure we were all very worried that she would never get her phone back. Whose responsibility was it to give that phone back to Hannah? Everybody's? Yeah, maybe. Does anybody have another answer?
Was it you?
Yes, it was me. It was my responsibility to give that back to you. Does anybody have another answer? Well, it was also your responsibility, because if you hadn't passed it to me, I wouldn't have been able to give it back to Hannah. And if you hadn't passed it to her, I wouldn't have been able to pass it to Hannah, right? If some person had stepped out of line, it would have been more difficult for me to get that phone back to Hannah. And in a similar way, if one person isn't a better bystander in a situation that does require you to be a better bystander, that person won't just not get their phone back, but they'll be put in a more challenging situation. So it's on us, yes, as Bobcats, to be better bystanders and to take a stance against sexual assault, but there is no us unless there is a me. There's no us unless there's a you, or you, or you, or you. It's on us as students to make a difference to stop sexual violence on campus. But before it can be on us, it must be on you and me. To all of the survivors, I hear you and I believe you. Unless we commit to making a difference, our campus culture is not going to change. Unless we commit to listening to and believing survivors, our campus culture is not going to change. Unless we commit to supporting our fellow classmates, our campus culture is not going to change. Unless we commit to understanding that consent is mandatory in all circumstances, our campus culture is not going to change. And unless we commit, I'll wait. It's hard enough to hear as is.
Sorry, you're fine. It's gonna ring 8
I
times.
appreciate the support, Cutler. Unless we each commit to keeping this conversation going, our campus culture is not going to change. To all of the survivors, I see you, I hear you, I believe you, and I am here for you. And based on the turnout for tonight's event, I have a feeling that there are a lot of other Bobcats who are willing to say and do the same. Thank you all for being here tonight.